human mind steps aside, giving way to new realms and reality alternatives. Welcome to the Alt Series.
Welcome to Session 4 of the Alt Series Shoud. We're here again, right back here in Louisville at the Crimson Circle Connection Center, and you can probably feel that Jeff is getting ready with Adamus. Actually, Adamus kind of hangs around a lot, so it's not too big a transition right now. But just feel into those energies and imagine what might be there for you. And with that, I'm going to invite each of us, as always, to start with the deep and conscious breath, that breath of life. I'm not going to tell you how fast to breathe or how deep. Feel into you with that breath. That's what should dictate that experience for you. Feel into it with presence, with each breath. It's breath, but it's energy, and it's all just your energy. So breathe and feel, opening to Adamus, opening to the highest potentials for you, doing that with each breath, a commitment you make to yourself. So stay with that good deep breath as we move on and invite Adamus in for each of us. Breathe for you. Breathe.
I am that I am. Adamus of sovereign domain. Oh, you're here. You're here. Welcome to each and every one of you from all around the cosmos. We have quite a day planned for you. But before we do anything else, there are priorities. There's things that need to be taken care of and addressed before we go any further. I'm going to ask for my coffee. Yes. Real coffee. Yeah, which, much more than coffee. Chocolates, a rose. What did I do to deserve this, Carrie?
I love you.
Oh, see? Thank you so much.
You don't have a place for them.
Oh, we'll make a place right on top of the books. One of my favorite of all time, The Red Lion. Yes. Thank you. Oh, it's gonna be quite a feast. Go ahead.
Oh my God.
Do what she's gonna take my dessert.
The hell she is.
Thank you, dear Linda. Thank you. So, a couple of comments before we get started. First of all, I was listening in on the poems before written by Chippy, Artificial Intelligence, and I have to say, if I had written the poem about me, it would have been a little bit more grandiose.
Really?
I think Chippy's holding back. I think as it searches the internet, during that short period of time where Caldra typed in the words Adamus Saint Germain, during that very short period, it actually reviewed all of the videos, all of the text, everything in that short period of time.
Did it have to log in?
It doesn't have to log in. It has control. Yes, sorry to say. And I would have thought it would come up with a few more.
Grandiose?
Yeah. Is anybody using their mobile phone here? Yeah. So I would have made it a little bit more grandiose. I would have used a more flowery terms. It would have been much more flattering than what it was. And you know why? Because I am grand. No, and you are too. You are too. It's my story, if you haven't heard it already, is grand, very grand. Why not? I mean, ask yourself, why not? And some of you are like, well, I'm not so grand. It's not. I don't have a big story, and not like yours, Adamus. Well, nobody really does, but yours is still pretty grand. Why would you? We're going to talk about stories today. Why would you perceive your story as being anything less than grand? And shame on you if you do. Now, I joke around. I talk about my many accomplishments, my president of the Ascended Masters Club. How much better does it get than that? President, self-appointed, of the Ascended Masters Club. I think the only thing higher than that is God itself. But that I am also, as are you. If your perspective of your story is anything less than that, shame on you. Or good luck to you. I mean, good luck in going out there with a less than grand story. Humans, they get nervous. They are reluctant to claim their grandness. Why? Because they're afraid somebody's going to come and slap them down. And they do get slapped down when you really don't believe that story. When you're just saying the words, you get slapped down for sure. Humans don't do it because you're taught to be humble. You know what I think of humble? Well, I won't say that word. Calder's trying to get me to behave now, but humble is for fucked up people. I mean, no. Why be humble? I mean, is it fun being humble? Do you actually enjoy it? Do you enjoy being small? But then you think about being grand. I can't do that. What will people say? I can't be grand because maybe it's an illusion. Maybe I'm really not. And then you go back to being ungrand, and they'll talk about repeatedly throughout the day is your reality is created by the perception of your observations. the perception of what you observe. And why not be grand? Doesn't mean you have to be an egotistical prick. It doesn't mean well, it doesn't mean that Calder's saying that you drive a Porsche. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means feeling grand. You don't have to go and tell everybody. You don't have to make yourself better than anybody. Grandness is not anything about comparing to anybody else. That's where you get in trouble. When you compare, I'm grander than Tad. And that, I know, shock of all shocks. No, grandness is a self-full thing. It's not about comparing. It's not about saying that you're better than anybody or that. Humans are used to this kind of competitive thing. How do I compare to others? It's not about that. I am grand. I don't need to go tell everybody about it.
But you do.
I do. I do, but only for your sake. Only so you start feeling kind of grand, and then feel really grand, and then feel grandiose grand. And it's just a story. And the question that I'll ask today over and over again, what story do you choose? Do you choose less than grand? Do you choose humble, a little tiny servant? Do you choose being stomped on and never getting anywhere? Or you, for yourself, not compared to anyone else, I am grand. It's up to you. It's totally up to you. And then, therefore, your experiences, your reality, are created by the perception of your observations. Perception of your observations. In other words, in order for anything to become material, what you would call real, there has to be consciousness. There has to be you present, period. Nothing exists if consciousness is not there. The moment consciousness is there, the moment something is being observed, it becomes so. The next level of that beautiful understanding is that how do you want to perceive what you observe? Do you want to perceive it as, I am grand? You don't have to go tell anybody about it. You don't have to write a book about it. I am grand. That is my perception. That is what, therefore, I am observing, the eyes through which I am observing or being in consciousness, and everything else follows. It has to. That's how reality is created. It's created by consciousness, observing. I'm not just making this shit up. I mean, this is absolute hardcore physics. And it was physics that's been discussed for 100 years or more. And quantum physics, quantum mechanics, and they've talked about it back and forth. They're getting better and better. They're getting to really understand what consciousness and observation does to reality. They test it. They understand that. I'm going to talk a lot more about this and other things, but just a little heads up. So right now, reality is, it comes from energy, then into light, then into waveforms. Everything is waveforms. The waveforms are nothing but potentials, laying or there, present for the observer to show up. Everything is waveforms. Those waveforms are nothing more than potentials, and there's more than you could ever imagine, just all around you right now. The moment your consciousness shows up, the moment you're present, the moment you observe, those waveforms suddenly turn into particles. Particles shape physical reality. Now you're dancing, you're within your reality. It's that simple. I mean, it's really simple, but how you observe it is the key. The physicists haven't figured that one out yet, but they will. You can observe it as a dumbass. You can observe it as a grand being. And that's exactly what you will get. Those waveforms will turn into particles. The potentials will turn into your experience or your reality, and you're going to live it out. And it's going to become one of your stories, part of your story. That simple. That simple. So basically, life is based on the perception of the observer. What you get in your life is basically how you observe it, how you perceive it, your story. So before I go any further, I want to pause for a moment here. 2023. It's the big story year. 2023. I've been waiting for it for a long time. I didn't know it was going to be 2023, but we knew something was coming, and it's here. Let's take a moment to for you to feel into the sacredness of this year, 2023. For you. For you. It's a year of bringing a lot of old things together. It's going to be a year of big stories, shifting stories, big things happening in your life. And not scary big things. Oh, it could be, depending how you perceive it, how you observe it. But actually, if you feel into all those waveforms that have come from light, a result of energy coming from your soul, if you feel into it, all those potentials, it's right there. Big changes in your life. Let's forget about the rest of the world right now, but in your life. It's right there, waiting to be observed. However you want to perceive it. So I'll begin with a question. Linda, on the microphone, please. What's your story for 2023? What is your story for 2023? Now, I'll give you a few little guidelines here. Your story should never, ever, 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 ever involve somebody else. It is your story for you. Do not make it dependent on another being. Now, you say, but I'm wildly in love, and my story has to include another person. Oh no, don't do that. You're gonna entangle yourself in some not so good energy. Your story has to be your story. What do you want in your life? Now, you may have this person you're wildly in love with. I mean, couldn't think of any greater love. Their story might also be one of 2023 being a year of finding love within themselves, of experiencing love like they never have before. Now you have two very common stories coming together, but they're not dependent on each other. They are independent. Do not entangle somebody else in your stories, because you know what happens. You've had a history of this type of thing happening, and it doesn't work out so good. You have to learn at some point then to untangle. It takes a lot of lifetimes, and I don't think you're ready for that. So back to the question, what's your story for 2023? Linda? Hello, Josh.
That was a surprise. My story for this year is embodying my enlightenment.
Good. And how are you going to do that?
One moment at a time.
That's a good answer, yeah. And how is, let's wait a moment. Okay, how is that working for you?
So far, so good.
Good. Yeah, I would add, just allowing it. The story is embodied enlightenment staying here on the planet. You just allow it. You don't work on it. You just allow it. So in your story, are there any villains?
No.
No. Any demons, ghosts, anything that's going to hold you back or inhibit you?
No.
No drama? What kind of story is this? It doesn't sound so human, You're just going to ease right into it suddenly, ta-da, embodied realization?
There could be a few bumps, but yes.
A few bumps. Now we start putting bumps in the story. Makes for a good story. And what kind of bumps would there be, Josh?
My experience is the moments when I forget to be in my embodiment.
Doubt, maybe.
There's a bump right away.
Cynicism, yeah, those type of things. What's the other thing here? What's the other bump that I'm perceiving here as we're talking? You know it all so well. It's like a good friend.
Self-worth.
Self-worth? I'm going to say thinking about it too much, getting too much in your mind about it, and rather than just allowing it, just thinking it. And am I in a... Part of the story, what we're talking about today, is it's up to you. Your story can be, I am realized. Or your story can be, I'm trying to be realized. And the fact is, they're both correct. It depends how you perceive your story, what you want it to be. The fact is, you are realized. But if you want to have that story, I'm on my way to it. I have a few more things to get over. I'm not sure what the hell they are, but I got a few more to get over. I'm not quite there yet. That's an interesting story. But how long is that story going to last? How boring is that story at a certain point? It's just my story. I'm realized. Let's move on. But so don't get too much in the head about it. You just wake up in the morning. You take a deep breath. I am realized, and suddenly, the waveforms that have been swirling around, billions of different waveforms, all representing potentials, go, oh, damn. Okay, we got to readjust everything. And, oh, okay, we were sleeping on the job because the human wasn't so sure, but now, okay, we have to support the perception that the human has now. The human is observing their self as a realized being. Whoa. Good, thank you. Next, 2023, what's your story? He's already taken embodied realization. That's off the list.
No bribes.
Hello, Tiffany.
Hello, Adamus.
Tell me a little bit about your story in this lifetime. How would you state it, quite simply?
Little Tiffany, a long time ago, did not trust herself at all. And she went through having all these things happen to her and didn't know until recently that all those things were created by her in a beautiful way to get her to where she is now.
Yeah.
So
So does Tiffany have any regrets about the stories of the past?
No.
No. That was a tentative no. That was a that was a bullshit no, right? That was yeah, a lot of them. That's okay. You know why?
I don't regret the past. I regret what I put myself through over. I do have a few regrets.
I don't understand the difference, quite frankly. You don't regret the past, just what you put yourself through.
Well, how I beat myself up for.
Yeah.
For
Why did you
things,
do
yeah.
that?
A worthiness stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Lack
worthiness.
of.
But what it was? You must have been getting something out of all that.
Yeah, I was. I was getting to where I am now.
Okay. Good.
And 2023 is trust.
Trust what?
Yeah.
Me?
Me.
Oh, you.
Me,
okay.
me.
Can you do that,
Yes.
Tiffany? Can you do that?
Yes.
Third time.
Yes.
Tiffany, can you?
I
can
am
you
doing
trust
that.
yourself?
I am trusting
But
myself.
now I have to just go into this. On what basis can you trust yourself? What, the past?
No. No, just trust that I'm not making any mistakes. Where before in the past I thought I was making mistakes all the time.
Right.
And I'm realizing now they weren't mistakes.
Right.
So now if I think I'm
I
making...
got to stop you there. Do you really realize they weren't mistakes, or does it just sound nice?
Most of the time I realize they were not mistakes. Occasionally I think the whole thing's shit.
Right.
So yeah. But most of the time I realize now they weren't mistakes.
Okay. So 2023, trusting yourself, and what's going to stop you from doing that?
What's going to stop me from doing that? Nothing.
I didn't say anything. I said,
No, really.
what if something doesn't meet your expectations this year?
There's a shit ton of things that don't meet my expectations all the time.
Why? Why?
Because I have grandiose expectations.
And so I get it. You should cut back your expectations. You should just minimize it, like almost no expectations. One expectation, you're going to get up in the morning. But even then, you can't rely
I have
on
to
that.
get up in the morning?
Well, all right, in the afternoon, So what's your foundation for trusting yourself?
The foundation is just knowing that I'm doing it now. I'm doing what I'm here to do. So even if a day feels not so good, just trust. Or if I feel like I am not in my self that day, to just trust that it's fine.
Right.
Yeah, that
Okay.
everything's going well.
It sounds a little bit contrived. I hope you don't mind me
Oh
saying.
no, go ahead.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, bring it.
No,
Bring
I
it,
understand what
Adamus.
you're saying, and everybody.
Because I really feel that.
The entire viewing audience understands also. No, it's great to trust yourself, but I'm looking in a few levels deeper here. I'm looking at the kind of how your stories come about and what's developing, and there's so much here an issue of you just work at things too hard. I mean, you just work at things too hard, and when you don't need to, you still work at them, and you still, you're still the warrior, you're still the battler. Yeah, you gotcha.
A little bit.
And you just feel, all right, I'm gonna go into 2023. I'm gonna put on my suit of armor. I'm gonna have my shield and my sword, and I'm gonna trust myself. And all of a sudden, you get knocked over, and then you're like, what was wrong with that? Just stop working at it, Tiffany. Really, that's the best thing. 2023, the year to relax into your realization. That's it. Period. You have this thing with yourself that I got to keep proving myself to myself. You will never accomplish it. You never get there. You can have 5 PhDs and you're still not going to do it. Now's the year to relax into the realization. And trusting yourself, trust schmushed. It just, what is that anyway? It's just letting yourself be.
Yeah.
And yes, underneath that in the fine print, it's like, no, you really can't make any mistakes. And in all that, it's like you're not a bad person, but you've been keep trying to prove to yourself through some sort of kind of warped story that you were bad and now you have to be good. Drop all of it. Much easier. Relax into realization. It's
Thank you.
so simple. No, it's really difficult, but the words are simple to say. And things will come along, and because of, I'll explain it more later, but all the stories that are going on right now, most of which you're not even aware of, they're all wondering what the hell is going on right now. And they're all going to be demanding attention.
I feel that.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Oh, and they're going to come back. The stories are going to remind you of things. Just a moment you say, I'm going to trust myself. Suddenly, there's 1,001 stories from the past why you shouldn't trust yourself.
Yeah.
And they're overwhelming. And we're gonna work on it today, but just relax into your realization. It's so easy.
Okay.
Yeah. And you've got somebody that you're doing it for yourself, but you have somebody now that helps to kind of tether you, to ground you, to
I hope I'm not being tethered.
no, not tethered.
I know what you
mean.
Yeah.
Not tethered as in holding back, but bringing you back to reality, balance more than anything. You tend to go way, way out there, and now it's like, no, I'm safe to be here. Maybe that's a safety for you right now.
That feels right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I can be here safely.
Maybe that's what I mean by the trust. I feel safer.
There you go.
Yeah.
Good. So,
Yeah.
2023, I am safe.
Thanks, Adamus.
Yeah, you bet. That's $5, please. Hey, it's cheaper to go into a shrink. Yeah. Okay. What's your story for 2023?
I saw you guys
Okay.
fighting. I didn't know which one I was supposed to.
I am going to relax into realization.
Good. Good. Yeah, it's already taken.
Okay.
You wanna try-
I'm going to pay attention to
You gotta
what's,
pay attention.
what to do.
How's your story going to unfold for 2023?
It's going to start out catching myself more and turning to meditation whenever I feel like less confident.
Catching yourself more?
Yes, catching myself whenever I start to go down too much self-thought, self-thinking. Not. It's more like overthinking.
Right.
Things like that.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping I will catch myself quicker and not hang out in that. So I'll recognize it faster and I don't know, meditate, take a bath, go on a walk.
Right.
And
did you say meditate?
Meditate.
Oh, meditate.
Yeah.
I must have
And this is
heard
the
that.
year I'm going to get a Lamborghini. So I'm going to figure that out.
You're going to do what?
Get a Lamborghini.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have a fun year. This
Take
is going to
me
be an
for a
amazing,
ride.
fun year.
Yeah. Good. And what are the things that could get in the way of it?
Self-doubt or overthinking.
Overthinking. Yeah.
I don't want
Yeah.
to overthink
Yeah.
that, but
Yeah. And tell everybody what kind of work you're involved in.
I trade commodities and stocks and futures.
Yeah. And that's kind of a thinking business.
There's a phrase I was looking at the other day that says, scared money don't make no money. And
Oh, yeah.
that's
Good.
why in my line of work, you can really go down a bad rabbit hole or an awesome, time sometimes. And it really comes out of fear or fear of missing out, FOMO,
Right.
when you're doing that. And you have to catch yourself or you'll be in
And what's that
trouble.
brilliant phrase so everybody hears it again?
Fear of missing out?
No, the one before that about money.
Scared money don't make no money.
Scared money don't make no money. It's exactly what I was saying before. Everything, your reality is created based on the perception of the observer, of you. And you're right. If you're scared going into something, that is the perception, and that's exactly what you're going to get. All those little waveforms suddenly turn into particles, suddenly turn into reality, and that's what you get.
Nice.
Good. So I need to dig a little deeper. You say not thinking so much. There's something else there that for 2023.
I'm trying not to overthink it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So how do you
And
do
I'm
that?
catching
How do
myself quickly. See,
How do you think about not thinking?
I think when that starts to happen, you need to, I would say, in terms of like my work or trading, you
Right.
got to get small. So you stop really anything and then go in smaller amounts and build momentum with that.
Right. Are you successful as a trader?
Some days.
Well, make sure your
Overall,
clients-
yes. Overall,
your
yes.
clients catch you on the good days, not the
Yeah.
bad. It's a crazy business.
Yeah. And it's just for myself, my company. It's not like I'm trading for other people.
Right.
But overall, I'm successful, yes. It's more like taking everything I've learned and there's always new lessons.
Always
And
new
so,
lessons.
Yeah.
So as I'm kind of looking in here, I would say the advice I'd give is stop trying to make an identity for yourself.
Okay.
It's good for a while. How do I want to write stories? How do I want to experience myself in a lot of different ways? But so much about it has been building an identity. Who am I? What am I? And so you go out and do things, but it comes to a point. It's like I am that I am. That's when you relax into your realization.
Okay.
Yeah. Any fears about 2023?
Maybe
Market
some-
crashing and
Yeah. I'd like to know which way the market's going to go.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, yes.
Yes.
It depends. It goes back to exactly what I said, and you can apply it to what you do. Your reality, your experiences, your success or lack of success in the work that you do is absolutely driven by your perspective. You're the observer now. Forget the rest of the market. Forget about all the, you get newsletters, you get input, you get feedback, and one person predicts a great year, the next person predicts a bad. What is your perspective? That's what's going to happen. The rest of the market could fall apart, and you could do very well.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome.
But what is your perspective?
My perspective is that everything actually is going pretty well and that we just don't see it in the same light that we're looking at older like algorithms type things.
Right.
But really, in reality, things are going pretty well.
Yeah, or maybe not.
Well, my perspective is things are going pretty
Yeah,
well.
good. If that's your perspective, and then
In
forget
certain
about
industries too.
Forget
especially.
about the rest of the world now, and forget about looking at different industries. But it's ultimately not about what's happening with the market in general. What's happening with you, and that will cause it to manifest the way you want. If you're feeling good about yourself, you're going to make money. If you're worried about or thinking about or trying to put into account, factor in all the outside, the experts and the, and the non-experts and everything else, you're trying to figure the market out, you are lost before you start. If you're trying to figure the market out. If you are allowing you to play in the market and be abundant regardless of anyone or anything else, you do very well.
Thank you.
But the minute you start saying, well, this expert says this and this market, this is going down and here's a trending over there, you lose out.
Lately, I've been making more money by going reverse of what everyone is always thinking.
Yeah, it's actually an old axiom is,
Yeah.
you want to know what's going to happen in the future? Yeah. It's the antithesis of what's happening today. Yeah. You can't lose. The pendulum swings back and forth. So, when it's swinging this way, bet that way because it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Up to a point. And then pretty soon the pendulum is not just swinging back and forth, it's going around like that. And it's going this way and that way and every way all at once.
It's kind of been doing that already lately.
Yeah,
so.
it has been.
It's been fun.
If I was to give my opinion of this year in the market, crazy.
Yeah. But that's good. That's like, that type of volatility can be really good for traders.
It can be. Nothing is sacred this year in the markets. There's some safe bets. Calder doesn't want me to say them, but I will. Utilities. There's some safe bets in there, but don't limit yourself to that. Just play from your heart, not from your mind, and you'll do fine.
Yeah,
it's hard to do. It's scary.
Yeah, it's recognizing that, and then sometimes I think when I'm trading and it doesn't go well, I'm like, who was that person? Who was in that zone?
Right.
It's like, what was I doing?
Yeah. If you think too much about it, it'll always beat you. But if you're playing for yourself and relaxing with it, having fun with it, you can't lose.
Okay, so I'm going to be relaxing into my trading.
Thank you. Yeah, and I take 10%.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll choose the $5 option.
Yeah. Couple more. 23. What's your story?
That was nice chocolate. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is that what's here?
No.
No.
Oh, get it done.
So, together with the Heaven's Cross, I'm looking forward to really be connected with myself and be conscious that I'm connected.
Good.
And then wherever I am, I'm at the right place, and I like to do what I'm doing, traveling or.
How free are you in life?
Sorry?
How free are you? I mean, are there things that are holding you back a lot? Job, family?
Last year I didn't work anymore.
Oh,
because
one of those.
I heard one night you can quit your job at the end of the year, and I did it.
Oh, wow. What were you doing in a job?
Then I was working in a chocolate shop.
How could anybody in the world quit working at a chocolate shop? I just do not understand.
I almost said I don't know, but I can't.
Yeah. The bathroom is
Yes,
right
I
over
know.
there. Yeah.
But I wouldn't go
What
there.
brought you here to Colorado, to the Crimson Circle Center?
I came here to Boulder because I'm cat sitting. And then I was looking first if there is also a shout in this time.
So somebody asked you to come from the other side of the world to sit on their cats? Or to babysit their cats?
There's an application you can stay or looking for cats wherever you like to do. And there was.
Yeah, hang on a second. I
Yes.
haven't been on the planet in a while. And I'm trying to digest this one. You can add, there's a, what do you call it, an app? There's a tool
Yes.
that you can use to travel around the world to take care of people's cats.
Yes, or dogs or whatever.
Did you
like.
go to the feline university to learn your trade for cat sitting?
No, I had one.
You had
Once
one?
I had cats.
Well, you had cats. Do you have cats now?
No,
What happened to them?
she died.
And you're going around the world taking care of other people's cats?
Yes.
I do not understand that logic.
I do like to travel.
You'd like to travel, okay?
Yes.
Isn't it amazing what you can do?
Yes.
Yeah. So you're taking care of cats, and how are the cats doing?
They're doing very well.
Good. They're still alive.
Yes.
Good.
They're
That's good.
eating.
And you get paid for this, or you just get to hang out at somebody's house?
I can just live in the house.
No,
but
can you eat their food?
I pay all the other things.
Yeah. Can you eat the food in the house? And
A few things if I like them.
Yeah.
But
cat food? No. I mean,
don't
do they
like
leave
very
cat
much.
food for the cats? Yeah.
Yes.
Good. Okay. So your life is pretty free right now,
Yes.
and you smile when you say that, like you are enjoying that.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
So, and again, back to this year, 23. What's your story?
I really will give me 100% to feel this free.
Yeah. Good. So you really get to be yourself this year.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It wasn't too bad being with the microphone, was it?
Oh, no,
Well,
it
kind of
wasn't.
fun, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought I don't have to lose anything.
Yeah. No, you didn't.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Good. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, one more. One more. Make this good, Linda. Make it good. What's your story for 23? Ooh, she is surveying the crowd here. Somebody just got Vince. How are you,
Hello.
sir? Story for 23.
Doing nothing. Really.
Doing nothing.
As little as possible.
Yeah.
Just being.
Why? Just being? Okay. You've worked pretty hard all your life.
Depends on what you call hard.
I mean, get up in the morning, go to work all
yeah,
day,
but
come
I
home.
enjoyed it.
You did?
I did.
I don't hear that from many humans. What kind of work did you do?
Did I enjoy it?
Yes.
Yeah, good.
Computers.
Oh,
Computer
computers.
programming.
Oh, so were you fascinated with all this new AI that's taking place?
And no, I've let it go.
Oh,
You know, I kind of look at it, and it's kind of like, that's for somebody else.
yeah.
I was happy with what I was doing. This is beyond, and
Hard to keep up with all that stuff
it is
too.
hard, and
Yeah,
I don't want to invest the time or the energy.
hurt your head just thinking about it. Yeah.
No, yeah, I'm always curious.
So you're just gonna do nothing this year.
Well, as little as possible.
As little as possible. Okay.
Still got to write the checks or arrange the transfers, whatever.
How are you feeling physically?
Okay.
That didn't sound.
Getting by.
Yeah, getting by. Getting by. Any thought about changing that story?
Well, sure,
Well,
I'm allowing it.
okay, but maybe even now actively changing that story.
So, guess I don't quite understand how I change it.
We'll talk about that in just a moment. Beautiful
Okay.
segue into my next point.
Glad to be of help.
Good, thank you. And keep that in mind as we go forward. Let's take a good deep breath. Good to hear different ideas of the story for 2023. It doesn't really matter one way or the other, but just remember that ultimately it's all about your perspective. That's exactly what you're going to end up experiencing. You could say 2023 is going to be an absolute brilliant year. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to travel. I'm going to have a lot of money. But if you don't really believe it, if you're just kind of trying to say the words and think the thoughts, you don't believe it, it's not your perspective. If you think, oh crap, another year, and just got to see if we can get by, and hopefully something will happen that's just going to break me out of this miserable condition I'm in, it's exactly what you get. Changing it is a little bit difficult because you're now battling your mind, and you're trying to say, oh, it's going to be a positive year, I'm going to be so happy, but then crappy things happen. Crappy things happen not because you're a putz, not because you got it wrong, it's simply your perspective, your story. You could change the story anytime you want. It's not through positive thought or affirmation. It's like no more of the old story. I'm going to change the story now. It's changing your perspective. You don't need to worry about details or dates or exactly what happens at this time, but almost like chapter headings. Like a chapter heading saying, dumping the crap, chapter 1. Chapter 2, now letting energy serve me. Chapter 3, living as an embodied master. You don't have to go into a lot of detail. You're just suddenly changing the dynamic or the perspective of the whole story. Stories are an interesting thing. Most people, a lot of you, think there's just a story. Your story right now. Your history, you chart it out, it's very linear. One story, one person. Not at all. There are so many stories going on simultaneously. You're aware of this one, the one you're in experience with. And I have to say, it is the most important story of your soul. But that being said, there are many other stories taking place, and that's why it's chaotic at times. You have your past life stories. You don't remember them, and that's a good thing. No, if you remembered those past life stories, it'd be really confusing. You'd really be hard on yourself. Because those past life stories, they're not dead. They never came to the end. Those stories are living right now. And they're going through their self-doubt. And they're going through their agony and pain. Or maybe a really good life, or maybe just sheer boredom. They're living right now in their stories. You're feeling it. It's really a blessing, at least for now. You don't remember all of those stories. It'd be overwhelming. And then knowing you, the way you are, you go in and try to fix and heal those stories, and then you get enmeshed in them, and you'd never get out of those old stories. It'd be a mess. You're here for a reason in this lifetime, and there's a reason you don't remember all those stories. And some of them, yes, there's some influential past lives. Most of them don't really matter right now. They're just stories. But they are living stories. They're not in the past. They're right here. You have stories from your aspects. I'm going to do aspectology later this month. Those are, in a way, stories. There's not all aspects, but a lot of the aspects are living out stories. There was a trauma that occurred a while back. It created an aspect. The aspect became what we call gray or even dark, dissociated from you, not liking you for a lot of reasons. That aspect is living a story right now. A lot of you have integrated those aspects, but if you haven't, if there's still some unintegrated, they're not just aspects. They are living their stories. They are going out and exploring the depth of their pain. And it's a good thing you're not aware of that. Some of those stories are exploring how dark is. Some of them are exploring alternative storylines. If I'd have done it this way, how would that have changed things? If I tried this approach, if I hadn't been so stupid, so bad, such a rotten person, so ignorant, what would have happened? You could take any single aspect and they could be living 100 or 1,000 variations of their stories right now. You are so lucky you're not aware at this human level of all of them. It'd be overwhelming. You have stories that are going on right now, before you ever came to Earth, when you were in angelic form. Tobias talked about it in Journey of the Angels, all the things that happened out there. Those stories are going on. And there's not just a single storyline. You could take any particular angelic period or identity that you had, and it's kind of like a past life in a way. It is living out stories, one after the other. What ifs? It's living out the potential of the story of you coming to the planet. It's living out the potential of the story of what if it just goes out of existence? All these are going on right now. Your dreams at night are a series of stories. You tap into them sometimes. You wonder what the hell is going on out there. And you realize so often it's really not me, like me as in the human. I couldn't make up those things if I tried. But yet they're occurring. Where are these coming from? A lot of psychologists, psychiatrists say, well, it's just your overactive mind. No way. These are stories, extensions of you in your dream state that are playing out on many levels. Some levels the human mind is not capable of accessing, because there are some beautiful stories happening out there. But often in the crystalline realms, the mind simply cannot understand them. And so the mind blanks out. It just shuts down. It doesn't even acknowledge. Yet those stories are taking place. You have stories based on your ancestral lineage that are out there right now. That chain, meant in several different meanings of the word, but that chain of your ancestors. And they have stories. I mean, your story on your ancestral lineage that are playing out. At any given moment, you could have thousands, tens of thousands, millions of stories going on all at the same time, all playing out on different levels. It's a beautiful creation of the soul. The soul isn't just right here, right now, sitting here at this shout. The soul, you are here, but yet all of these stories are playing out. And there are many of them, some painful, some beautiful. Ultimately, in a way, it kind of doesn't matter right now, other than to realize what's happening. This has been going on for eons of time. You think about all the potential stories. The story of when you were young, got hurt, something happened, you got injured, you broke a bone, you cut yourself, you were bleeding, screaming, maybe had to get stitches. That little trauma point there, it kind of goes off into its own little story and continues to play out. Oftentimes in the story, repeating time and time again what happened. You then sense it in your brain. It's like this thing keeps coming back, this thing that happened to you. But yet that story is out there. What if you had never grabbed that electric wire? Or what if you were killed when you grabbed that electric wire? It is playing out so many levels of your story right now. It's almost overwhelming. But the reason I bring this up, it happens to everybody. Everybody have a multitude of stories. They're yours, but they're not really yours. They're out there. You can sense the rumbling. You can sense the storylines. You can sense the intensity at times. Everybody has them. But what happens here, the important thing is that, if you look at it, you got all these stories in your orbit, in your energy orbit, swirling around, playing out, and coming from all different directions, past lives, this lifetime, potential lifetimes. There's so many stories. And it seems like a swirling mess at times. But it's actually a very highly creative thing. I mean, it's intensely creative. If the soul is able to do this, have all these ongoing stories, every story of which the soul is aware of. Well, none of these are outside of the awareness of the soul. Doesn't bother the soul one bit. Doesn't bother, the soul doesn't intervene and say, oh, you better change your story up. The soul isn't trying to manipulate the stories. The soul is watching, observing as all this takes place, and in a way thrilled. It's the expression of the soul. But the soul also knows there is one very important story right now that is really the guiding force for all the rest of these, and it's your lifetime. It's right now. The soul has, it's not that it has favorites, but you're the favorite. you're the center point right now. And imagine all these stories out there acting, living out. And then imagine that suddenly something happens in, let's say, 2023. Something happens, And suddenly, if you imagine every story there's like a million sheep out in the pasture, each going its own direction, and some wandering aimlessly, some trying to assemble in little groups or packs, but there's millions of sheep out there all over the pasture, and you look at it and go, oh, what a mess. I'm responsible for all this. But something happens in 2023, and suddenly you have a magic flute in your hands, you, the human, in this lifetime. Whoa, what am I supposed to do with that? You hear this voice from your soul, play it. Play it. Stop looking at it. Stop wondering where it came from. Stop thinking that it's a conspiracy. Play the fucking flute, would you? So you grab the flute. It's like, well, I've never played the flute. And the soul's going, geez, could you just stop making excuses and play the damn flute? So you look at it. You realize you probably need to take a deep breath first. Take a deep breath, and it sounds terrible, of course, but at least you're playing the flute. And all of a sudden you look over, whoa, all these sheep. Suddenly their ears go up. What the hell was that? They're hearing beautiful music, by the way. And you keep playing a little bit more, and the sheep are like, wow. Oh, now, got our curiosity, and they start kind of, you know how sheep are, they kind of walk slowly over. And pretty soon you got 1 million sheep all lined up. And suddenly you realize you're the Pied Piper. It's not just a children's story, it's your story. And they're all following you. All of these stories, all the sheep, all the stories that are in your orbit, your past, future stories too. There's our future stories swirling around out there, and suddenly they're like, somebody finally grabbed that magic flute or pipe, and we're going to flow with it. We're going to flow. We're going to get in alignment with the story that the Pied Piper, the human, is playing. It's up to the Pied Piper now, the human, to lead us. So instead of all the stories being smattered all over the cosmos and continuing to play out, suddenly they come into alignment, into flow with you. That's why the soul has a particular interest, because you're the key to this whole thing. Bringing your stories home. And I have to make this very clear, not leading the sheep to the slaughterhouse. You're not, got to point that out. Some of you are, oh no, where is this going? No, you're gonna shear some of the wool, and you're gonna make really nice things for yourself. And the sheep don't care. So back to the point here. Life is just a story. And all this is just a story. Tragic at times, painful, blissful at other times, breakthroughs, but it's all just a story. And it's all based on the perspective of the observer, of you. How do you want your story? You feel into it. And you don't need to detail it, and it cannot involve other people. How do you want your story? You could say fulfillment. You could say ease or grace or whatever words you want to use. That is the perspective that I choose. And I choose it clearly, not maybe. I choose it clearly. Health, Vince. It's just a story. It's the story of the physical body that's been around for millions of years without really a lot of evolution. And you're stuck in the physical body. You feel its pain. You feel it wearing down. You feel the aging. You worry about diseases. Just a story. It's just a perspective that you've picked up based on your experience in the human body, based on everything mass consciousness tells you about it, but you can change that story anytime. When you do, when you choose now consciously, you choose your perspective, no longer going, I don't know what's going to happen, it's destiny. I don't. When you choose your story, all the sheep, they line up. All the other stories, all the energies now are there to support that story. Now, the tough part is, based on your old stories and the set patterns that have been in life, you go, is this possible? Is this possible? Can I really change my story? Can I really change the past? You see, because when you change your story, the stories of the past change also. They no longer are that poor peasant from another lifetime that never had enough to eat, that was working day and night and had a bad master. That story, you don't just change and feel a little better about it. That story changes literally to the point where maybe that lifetime started out as a peasant, but then said no more. And that peasant went off to a different land and made something of herself or himself, did something, accomplished what they wanted to do, followed their heart. Whatever you think is the past is just a story that can absolutely be changed. And you're going to feel it. You're going to feel it in your energy orbit. And it's going to feel a little odd and disruptive because you're used to the patterns, even though you don't know what they are, but you're used to, all the stories following in their patterns. And suddenly you're changing, and it's changing, and the past is changing, and you're defying science, you're defying conventional physics, you're defying everything. But go back to the point here. Everything here right now is just potentials in waveforms. That's all it is. It comes from your energy to light to waveforms. The waveforms are vast. They're not little tiny, like a radio spectrum waveform. They're huge waveforms, and there's billions of them, and they're just sitting here waiting for the observer, waiting for the conscious being. And when you go in and observe, you jump into life, your perspective is shitty, life is bad, the waveforms will show you bad. Waveforms are just energy now in a little bit different state of response as waveforms. All you're doing is changing the physics. That's all. This isn't the airy-fairy stuff. You're just changing the physics, the response of waveforms. That's all you're doing. And this isn't just Adamus physics. This is accepted, mostly accepted physics right now. They're still very confused. They don't understand the role of, on one side, the role of energy, and I'm talking about quantum physicists, going back to Bohr, to Einstein, to some of the others. They never quite understood energy, and they never understood consciousness, but they tried to understand everything in between. And they got very confused, and a lot of debates and arguments. If they would just really understand energy is communications, consciousness is awareness, everything. Everything else in physics makes sense. The conversion of waveforms to particles, particles to reality, reality to what you experience in your story. Isn't that airy-fairy stuff? It's quantum physics. And you can change your story whenever you want. Yes, there are obstacles because you go, can I really do this? And am I worthy? Let's get over that. Let's get over that. Let's go quantum. I use that word because I can't figure out another one, but let's go quantum on it and just make that big leap. And the worst that it's going to do is kill you. Kidding. Well, yeah, a little bit. The worst that it's going to do is blow a few fuses, and you probably need to have some blown. And instead of replacing them with conventional fuses, you replace them simply with consciousness. Do you really need fuses anymore? Nah. So the moral of the story here is, how do you want your story to be? And again, no other people and no details, but just it's a feeling. How do I want that story? And then as you do this, all of your other stories and all those layers and levels, all those different dimensions that are out there, they start changing also. There is no past. That's locked in. There's absolutely no defined future. Future is just potentials. The stories, you come to Earth, you start going through the experience, the stories get locked in, the stories get limited, you feel you don't have any influence over them. That's absolutely not true. So what beautiful story do you want to create now? Even about your past, not past lives necessarily, but in this lifetime. You say, well, Adamus, no, that happened. And no, it didn't, unless that's your perspective. Here are a couple of examples of stories. I'll take it to extreme. There was one side of the story that you just came up and evolved from green pond scum, from kind of a cosmic mix-up. And it was just little microbes in organisms evolving and growing and eventually turning into animal forms, eventually into human with intelligence, and I put quotes around the intelligence, and this just evolved from green pond scum. That's a story. And if you believe it, okay, that's your perspective. That you evolve from green pond scum, and maybe you keep evolving. Maybe you go back to green pond scum. It's just a story, which you can choose if you want. And by the way, it's an interesting story, but the chances of that happening and getting to this point where you are like a billion to the billionth power that it wasn't going to happen. If you look at science and physics, the likelihood of humanity developing out of green pond scum, now some of humanity is green pond scum, but evolving from it, probably not. What's the other story? What perspective do you want? How about the perspective of, I am an angelic being. I am the expression of my soul. I wandered and played in the non-physical realms. I played with energy like a child would play with their toys. I used consciousness like one who wasn't aware of the magic but was still playing with it. And I found myself here to learn even more. As an angelic being, I'm temporarily housed in this body of the human, but I am an angelic being. And I am evolving in this, and I am developing my stories. What perspective do you want? And it doesn't matter. There's no right, there's no wrong. Which perspective? Or the other perspective is, I don't know how I ended up here, I just did, and now I got to deal with it. They're all stories, and any one of them can be true. None are wrong. You are green pond scum, or you came from that, or you are an angelic being. It's your choice on the perspective that you want. And that's what creates the reality. It's absolutely just a story, is what I'm saying, and you can change it. Your story can be one of great difficulty and hardship, overcoming all the odds, putting up with bad families, with a wretched life and bad partners. It could be, or as Caldera stole my idea for his article, it could be that you chose to come into this planet fast. You chose a family that you're going to leave pretty quickly, and then you went out on your own to really experience your soul passion in this lifetime. Which story do you want? The poor me story, or do you want the amazing and relatively dramatic story of coming in here so determined to do what you came here for in this lifetime? To be here at the planet at the time of the machines, to be an embodied master. You choose that perspective, that's what happens. The sheep all line up, everybody follows, their stories change. Their stories change. A story that occurred 10,000 years ago changes because of what you're doing here right now. They have their own free will, indeed, but they're so tuned into you, to the soul through you, that when they feel that somebody is finally choosing to be a true creator, not just a follower, when somebody is choosing a different story, it inspires them. They can choose their and change their stories. That's why I say right now, every one of your past lives is going through awakening and realization because of what you've done. Let's take a deep breath with that, your stories. There's no story that's cast in concrete. There's no story that's unchangeable, including this lifetime. You change your perspective, you change your story, and watch how instead of a million sheep out in the pasture not knowing what the hell's going on, suddenly they're all lined up following you, getting into alignment with your consciousness, with your enlightenment, your realization. And then one day, as you're playing the flute, walking down the beautiful country road, you decide to take a nap. One day you're taking that nap and suddenly you wake up and there's no sheep. First thing you think of, damn, the sheep ran off. I'm the shepherd and my sheep ran off. Where in the hell could a million sheep have gone? And then you suddenly realize that you were just in one great big dream. A dream with a million different stories. And each of those stories having a million of their own. You suddenly wake up and you realize they're all integrated right here. They're all here. So let's take a deep breath and get on some music, do a mirab. I want you to be very clear, it's all just a story. And it is changeable. When you realize that it's just a matter of your perspective. How do you want to see your story? If you're not sure, if you think, I don't know how to see my story differently, call on me or Cthulhu. We'll help you understand your story. We'll share your story back with you the way we see it. Not as a miserable human, not as somebody who just can never quite make their way into realization. You know, there's been books, wonderful books that have been written, there's a few movies too, about that poor human. Never quite there, never quite getting it. Human who has big dreams and aspirations, but every time they're just about to get there, falls apart. This goes on over and over in the book or the movie until something comes along, shakes them out of that old pattern of not quite there. Well, that's something that's happening right now. It's an amazing story. It goes something like this. So here you were going through life and having a lot of good moments, a lot of bad moments, and you just couldn't seem to get out of the patterns, get out of the storyline. That storyline was so ingrained. You tried thinking your way out, pushing your way out. You tried mantraing your way out, meditating your way out, and nothing freaking worked. But there was something deep within, something very deep within that said, I just can't keep going like this, no more. I don't know what to do, but no more. Well, that was heard very clearly by one of your stories. Story in the future. A story of you that is absolutely true, of an enlightened being. Hell, in that story, you even had little wings. You can pop them out anytime you want. It was a story in the future, but really not in the future. The story of finally allowing, and finally having what is a very natural thing come to you. I have to add one little footnote. I've talked for a long time about realization being natural. Don't work at it, allow it, and all the rest of that. That's very true. But it's, in a way, naturally unnatural to do it while you're in the physical body in the human condition. I forgot to add that earlier. I must be getting older. It's difficult to do when you're in the physical body because the storyline for the human is I'm working on it, I'm efforting, I'm trying hard, I'm trying to get over my past mistakes and problems. So what happens is this story from the future, which is very real. It's a waveform, kind of, the you think is occurring in the future, but it comes along. It's the thing that pops in and says, let's change all this right now. It's just a story. How do you want it to be written? And this future self, it says, but you can't involve other people. This is for you and you alone. And don't worry about little details. What will make your heart sing? What will give you great joy in this lifetime? And this angel self from the future takes you by the hand. It says, I heard you. I heard that no more. I heard it loud and clear. And I'm here now. I'm you. I'm really just your story. I'm no different than you, but you think I come from the future. I don't. And this future self angel, you could feel the compassion. You could feel the safe space with this angel. And the angel said, actually, I heard you a while back. It's taken me some time to get here. I heard you a while back, but I knew it was important for you to explore your story a little bit more before I showed up. Don't get me wrong, says this angel from the future. I always intended to be here. Never second guessed it. But, I kind of waited for a lot of reasons you'll come to understand. A lot of reasons. But I made it. Here we are. Here we are with a story that you always dreamt about, but could never really be fully aware of it. The story you always really wanted, but you could never express. The story that you struggled to find, but you just thought too much about it. And we're here now for that story. And by the way, when it happens, as it happens, you look out at all the other stories of the soul. The soul since times long before Earth. You look back on those, and those all are also changing right now. It's not just you. There's a transformation taking place at every level. There has to be a you on the planet right now in order for that to occur. We can't do it from what you would call the future, from the non-physical realms. There has to be the you on the planet for all the others, all the stories and all the dreams to also transform. Otherwise, we would have done it a long time ago. There has to be you in reality as the manifestation of these waveforms and potentials. It's got to be here, and you're it. And I know it's taken me a while to get here, but you'll understand why. Right now, says this angel from the future. Right now, let's change that story. Feel it. You don't have to think it. You don't have to write it out. Just feel the story. And the angel says, oh, by the way, I come from the future. I forgot. What's the date today? And you stop and think about it. Oh, I guess it's March 22nd, 2023. And you both have a good laugh, a good long laugh. It's when the heavens cross, when there's that opening for those who are ready, when consciousness can flow, when you can access all of your stories. You'll understand why that future self waited until March 22nd, but you both have a good laugh knowing, okay, it's here. My stories are very changeable, even this lifetime. Not just in maybe having a little different attitude about what happened, but they literally change. It defies any sort of physics that are around at the time, but it literally changes. Yes, the story that you went through in this lifetime and all of your others, that storyline is still there, but it kind of drops down, replaced by a much more enlightened storyline, a much more enlightened experience. These things are not just of dreams and hopes. These things are, well, they're your stories, and they're very changeable. What do you want in 2023 and beyond? And I guess the other question is, are you ready to have your story change? Of all the ascended masters, there are very, very few that ever experienced what it's like to still be in the physical body and have the stories, all the stories, change. Not many. Most, they have that instant flash shortly before, between enlightenment and death, that instant flash, suddenly everything comes together. Everything is in harmony and in oneness within oneself, not a universal oneness. They suddenly have that knowingness. All the stories change in a flash, but there are very few. I'm getting a number right now, just Calder's wanting to know, 22, if you have to know, ascended masters that have ever done the rescripting and staying in the physical body and feeling what it's like to go through it. Feeling what it's like to have all the stories changing. Not just this lifetime, but all of them. Let's take a good deep breath together. The beauty of what you're doing. I really, sometimes I just go back to the Ascended Masters Club and just chuckle, thinking they really don't quite see it yet. They don't know what they're doing. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe one day it'll be like opening a Christmas present and a big surprise when you finally get it all. They just don't know really quite what they're doing. They don't understand the impact of their light on the planet at this time. They don't understand that others haven't done this. Literally changing what you would call the past and the future on the fly while you're in this human life. Wow. We'll talk later about the implications on all things. But right now, let's take a deep breath, and you don't have to work on it. And just allow it. Other than, how would you like your story going forward? With that, it is always an honor to come to this place, to be with you, to be with all of you. And always remember that all is well in all of creation. Thank you. Thank you.
Let the energies flow. You can feel it. Allow it. Breathe it in and just feel what it means to you and what it'll do for you. Can you take that good deep breath of true allowing for you? Thank you for being a part of this Alt 4. And we'll be back the first Saturday of February. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.